BBC. We're looking at everything from courier scams to romance fraud, so that we can tell you what to look out for and how you can protect yourself as well. If you do come across any scams, or you think you've come across any scams in this of all weeks, do tell us about them. Do forward them on to us. Do let us know. The crime survey says fraud now makes up over 40% of all crime in England and Wales. It turns out, though, there is one local company here in Norfolk doing its best to help protect us. So let's talk to Kelly Ball from Phonely, actually just slightly over the border in Lowestoft, but we count Lowestoft as local here on BBC Radio Norfolk. It's an award-winning company that offers robust protection against scam calls. Kelly, good morning. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a big problem, isn't it? We're doing Scam Safe Week because lots of people are finding that, if not falling victims to scams, they've certainly got scammers who are trying to reel them in.
Exactly. It's a massive problem, and it's a growing problem, which is most worrying. And that's down to the technology that is available now to scammers. It does make it very easy for them to conceal themselves. It makes it very easy for them to change their numbers and sort of get around traditional call blocking technology, that kind of thing. So we're kind of having to be one step ahead using that same technology, to sort of fight back, really.
So is it particularly phone scams that you help to fight against?
It is, and most specifically landline telephone scams. The reason we're so focused on that, apart from aside from the fact that the core of our product is a landline service, a digital landline service, is we know that scammers sort of disproportionately target those that are older adults and those that are more vulnerable. And it is those people that sort of rely on their landline a lot more nowadays. They'll sort of keep their landline, had their number for many, many years and want to hang on to that. So the transition from analog to digital is obviously very much underway, and the deadline for everyone to move over is January 2027. So we're helping people kind of transition from their traditional analog lines over to a digital one, and enabling them to keep their telephone number, keep their handset, try and keep everything as it was, but just moving the technology over for them. So we have the built-in anti-telephone scam protection alongside of that. We couldn't build the product without that. We know we have a responsibility as a telecoms provider to make sure our customers are protected. So that's exactly what we do.
I'll let you talk us through exactly how your technology works in a moment, because it is interesting. But you said something a moment ago about how it can sometimes be older, vulnerable people who are targeted by these scams. Are they actually targeted, or we were trying to get to the bottom of this yesterday? Is it just a scattergun approach where these scammers now have the technology to try lots of phone numbers all at the same time, and law of averages, they do sometimes hit upon somebody who is older and more vulnerable? How targeted is a lot of this?
I suppose it's sort of indirectly targeted just purely by the fact that if we're just talking landline again, it is the majority of landline users are older adults. So that's obviously where it's concentrated when we're talking about landline scams. There is a list that, it's a well-known thing. There is a list out there which is awful. It's called a suckers list is what they call it in the industry, in the scam industry. And that is a list that circulates and it gets passed from scammer to scammer. So those people who have been scammed or almost been scammed, they are targeted repeatedly. And we do know that they have lots and lots of calls, nuisance phone calls over and over again.
To your technology then, you mentioned you've got scam protecting technology within your service. So how does it work and what does it do?
Okay, so it's part technology and it's part human intervention, and the two work really well together. So we have, there's lots of different features. The main ones, I think, are our anti-fraud intro. So if somebody calls one of our Phonely customers and that number doesn't appear on that customer's friends or family list, the individual, who is obviously unknown, will hear a recording that says the person you're calling is protected by Phonely. Your call will be recorded and shared with a third party. Now, we do know, having run pilots with Greater Manchester Police actually last year, that alone is massively effective. Sort of 9 out of 10 people that shouldn't be calling you will hang up at that point. They don't want to be recorded. And like I said, there's lots of other people they can go on to call. Call recording, of course, is also part of that as well. A really clever but simple part of what we do is the trusted person element, and that's the human side. So what an account holder can do when they sign up for an account is nominate a trusted person. So that could be a family member, a grandson, granddaughter, daughter, a friend. That person then can download our Phonely Trusted Person app to their smartphone. And depending on what's been set in terms of the settings, there's various things that can happen. So, for example, if an international call comes into the account holder and that's not typical for them, the trusted person can be alerted in real time. So at that point, they can make a decision, depending, obviously, they'll know their loved one, more than anyone, but depending on how vulnerable that person might be, they might decide they want to join that call, in real time, just to make sure that they're okay. A lot of people do turn that feature off because they do find it a little bit intrusive. But what they have the ability to do is actually make that decision themselves. And if they're feeling a bit unsure and a bit flustered, they can invite their trusted person into the call. Now, of course, that's the last thing a scammer wants. A lot of the time, they will just hang up.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Well, thanks for talking us through it, Kelly. It's our Scam Safe Week on the BBC, and it's good to hear some work going on locally to try and combat the scammers, because it's such a big problem. Great to talk to Kelly Ball there from Phonely, based in Lowestoft, an award-winning company that offers different protections. And if you've got a vulnerable person in your life who you're worried about getting these scam calls, actually they've got a system there where you can join the calls with them, and it tends not to take much for scammers to hang up, does it, Tim?